What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to another video, and as always, if you're new here, my name is Lesodor, and on this channel I talk about nursing. I also give health tips and I do a lot of vlogs. So if that is something you're interested in, you should consider clicking on the subscribe button and hitting the notification bell so that you don't miss any other video whenever I post it. So when it comes to studying, there's a lot of argument because everyone says they want to use a method that is good for them, a method that they feel happy using, or what works for them. That is what most people say. I'm studying like this because this is what works for me. But the problem is, most of the time you might be using a method that you used, I don't know, in high school or something, because most of the time when that motivational speaker came to your school, you are so like following whatever he's saying, and he told you this is the way you're supposed to be studying, and you followed everything to the letter, and you're in college right now, then that method is not working for you anymore. Because maybe for him, he told you to start working hard. But remember, especially in college and even if you're in high school, you're supposed to work smart. Like nowadays, working smart is the only way out. You just can't be sitting down and reading your books like crazy. You can't be working hard. You have to be smart, especially in college. So today, just like to share with you guys how it is like to study smart, because I actually just look at guys and wonder like who's still working hard, like literally who is still working hard. You're supposed to be doing your things smart in a way that is not stressful, because the moment you have a lot of stress, like none of those methods is going to work for you. Whichever method you're going to choose to study, it requires you to be stress-free. So let's get to the points. So the first thing is believe in yourself. Like whenever you're studying, believe that you're going to understand everything that you're studying, and also believe that you're going to remember them in exams. Like believing in yourself is the only way that you can be able to even do well in your exams. Have you ever realized that, let's say there's a lecturer in your class and maybe they're asking a certain question, but at times you're scared to say it because you're afraid that you're going to say the wrong thing. But the moment they say the answer later on, because you refuse to say it, you realize that that was exactly the thing that you wanted to say. That is also exactly the thing that happens during exams, that when you get a question and you've never heard of it, you're scared to answer it because you don't believe in yourself. Like you're like, I've never read this thing, so I cannot answer it. So that just like discourages you, and you never feel like even studying, because you feel like you're studying and you're not getting anything. But remember, you are studying, but you're understanding these things, but in a different way. So make sure that you just trust in yourself. Even when you're given a paper, an exam, or even whenever someone is asking a question from you, just trust that you know the answer and answer it. So the first thing is to believe in yourself. You see this small book? This is something that I've been doing ever since high school, like creating short notes. So number 2 is learn how to create your own short notes. Like you just can't be a person who depends on the notes that you're given in class. That whenever you want to study, you have to sit down, take the notes you're given in class, and then just hold your head and start reading those notes like as if you're reading a Bible or as if you're cramming something. For you to be able to do well, especially for the nursing course, you just can't be sitting and looking at your book that way. You're not going to get anything, because when I come to that place where you are reading and I ask you a question from what you're reading, you're not even going to remember it. So I really like to encourage you, if you're watching this video, you learn how to create short notes. So what you can do, you can just buy a small notebook, or you can, or if you have the bigger books, you can just try and usually fold them. So what happens is that you can just fold it like once this way, and then you can be writing short notes. So with this, it is so easy to remember what you wrote on such a small book, because this book you'll be carrying it with yourself everywhere you go, and it's so easy to read. Because instead of reading a whole book that is written, I don't know how many paragraphs, you can minimize that paragraph into one sentence that is so easy to read, and it becomes easier for you to be able to understand what you're reading. Because you can compare that person who is reading that whole paragraph and this person who is trying to read this one line each and every day. The other person is going to feel tired, and they're not even going to concentrate, and they're going to feel like nursing is so difficult. But for this person who is reading only these short notes that they are written in form of 2 words or 3 words, it is going to be so easy for them to study. So just get it into a routine that yes, you have your notes, but you also have a small notebook that you just write everything in short form, and you can just use it, especially even before exams. When you just go through them, it becomes so easier for you. Number 3 is to stop stressing. Like, just stop stressing yourself, because nursing or whichever course you're doing is not the only thing you're doing with your life. There are so many other things in your life apart from reading. So you just can't stress yourself with reading 24/7, and this just takes a whole lot of your mind, and you just feel like you're going crazy. You're not going to understand anything if you're stressed and you're going into depression. You're not going to understand anything. So just stop stressing and try and relax. Try and relax your mind. I usually say, if you feel like you're studying in that you're not even finding time to sleep, or you're finding time to do other things, then you're not studying. It means you're just forcing things out. So just make sure you stop stressing. Just relax. Like, the only way you can do that is planning yourself. Plan your time. Just know, like, understand yourself. For me, I usually like studying in the morning, or for me, I usually like studying in the afternoon or in the evening. Understand yourself, then choose your time. If it's in the morning, you study in the morning. Then in the afternoon, do other things. You can even watch a movie, go for swimming, do whatever thing that you like doing other than studying, and try and stop yourself from stressing out. Because the moment you're just so much stressed, you're not going to understand. Like, you cannot try and take a book for anatomy, read that in the morning, take another book for med-surg, read that in the afternoon, take another book for like psychology and read that in the evening, then take the moment you just like stressing yourself like all through the day, by the end of the day, if you sit down and try to remember what you did in the morning, you won't be able to remember. Because I realized, like, studying, whenever you keep on filling your mind, it's like whenever you are bringing the psychology stuff, it is removing the anatomy stuff from your mind. So just try and relax. Find a way of relaxing, whichever way you choose, even if it's dancing or shouting, or whichever thing you want to do. But just make sure you give yourself time to sleep and time to relax. Even if it's exam or whatever thing it is, just make sure you find a time to relax. You're not dying for this thing. Number 4 is to read one thing at a time. Just like I said from the previous point, doing one thing at a time. Even when it comes to the topics, like, just be specific. Just can't sit down with the whole med-surg book and you expect yourself to be able to read the whole book at one time. You're just wasting your time. Even I wish you could just even go and sleep. Take one thing at a time. You can even take, let's say, the respiratory conditions, and decide to only do respiratory conditions, then you go to sleep. Like that is enough. I realize that the moment you do these things bit by bit, it will be easier for you to even remember during exams. Like, rather than doing the whole of it, then when it is almost 1 week to exam, you can't remember anything. It's better for you to do one thing at a time that is so easy to memorize, so that by the end of exams you are not struggling, because you can still remember what you did. Number 5 is don't read for exams. Like, don't try and cram and memorize word by word only because you want to perform well in exams. Like, for us in KMTC, we usually do the final exam, and for the final exam they capture everything from first year to the 4th year. So that means if in first year you are reading for that specific exam, that means you already forgot about what you are reading. In second year, you also read for that specific exam, you forgot it. In third year, you read for only that exam, you forgot it. Now you're in the 4th year, you're supposed to be doing your exams, and you have to start studying again from what you did in first year, so that you can cram everything second year, third year, so that you can be able to do that final exam. It is going to be so stressful. So it's better if you don't read for exams, you read for you to be able to understand. Like, you can just try and even take a specific, let's say, topic. You're doing respiratory conditions, and you decide to just do everything in it. You watch videos, you read different books, you ask questions, you do papers, as in you just do that topic until you understand it so well that you can't even forget. You go even to the hospital, you attend the ward rounds, you listen to how the doctors explain such kind of conditions. I'm telling you, you won't forget it. Even when you get to that day that you want to do your final exam, when you're revising, it becomes so easy. It just looks like something you've been doing like all through. Then number 6 is to use revision questions. You can always find questions even online. You can just Google for questions. So the moment you use questions, you're able to know, like, what is it that examiners usually want from you? What is it that you haven't read? Because when you find a question, you'll be able to realize there's something in that condition that you even haven't tackled yet. So you see, you can also always use revision questions, that is past papers from even the final exams or from the similar exams that you are doing. Number 7 is to do group discussions. You know, discussions are also usually important in their own way, because let's say you've read on your own in the morning, you've covered that topic, then in the afternoon you've done the revision questions, then in the evening you can just sit down as a group and discuss that topic again. So you know, the moment you speak it out, the moment you explain it out to someone, you won't be able to forget it, because you'll keep on repeating it with your own mouth every time, and something that you've talked with your own mouth, it's so difficult to forget. So you can always do group discussions every time you're done with a certain topic, and it becomes so easy to remember. Number 8 is to use mnemonics, and mnemonics are just a very helpful way for you to remember so many things, because in nursing, in medical, like in medicine generally, there are a lot of things that you just have to, can I say, memorize, because you find that there's some things that they're supposed to be in a certain order, and like then like almost every topic, and you have to like not even understand, you have to memorize them, because they're going to tell you name the 10 of them and put them in order. So mnemonics is the only thing that is going to help you out here. So you can always try and create mnemonics, like just try and look for something, like that's how the group discussion usually helps, because someone will come with a mnemonic and they'll share it with you. So just try and find that mnemonic and use it to be able to memorize these things, so that by the time exams come, you just don't have to cram some things, you just have them at hand because of the mnemonics. So just sit down and take your time and understand yourself, because you really need to know like who you are, like what type of a student you are, because the moment you want to copy everything everyone is doing, it is not going to work out for you. You might be using what someone else is using as a method of studying, and yet that is what is working for them. That is the reason as to why they are who they are. That is why they're performing the way they're performing. But maybe that is not working for you, so don't always try and copy what they're doing. You can just try and use it, but if it's not working for you, that is not meant for you. So let's try and try different things, because at times you might not know what is working for you unless you try it out. So let me tell you like a story. Like for me, when I was in high school, I just used to be an average student, but the problem was I didn't understand like the method that I should be using for studying, because for me personally, I used to just take a book, go to the library, sit down and touch myself like this, the way everyone does, and just start reading and cramming. But I realized it is not working out for me. Like I wasn't doing what I felt like I wanted to do. You know, there's always a certain place that you just want to reach, and I never felt I was getting to that point. Then I remember when I was in Form 2, the end term that we were joining Form 3, that's when I realized my way of studying. That's when I just sat down and realized that if this method is not working for me, then I think I'm supposed to be looking for another way of studying. So that's when I realized about the writing of short notes, using of mnemonics, what I've told you today. That is what I realized that long ago in 2013, and I've been using that for a very long time, because it has really been working for me. So that is the only thing that you're supposed to be doing, realizing what is working for you. Because for me, the moment I realized that, I started using it immediately. I just stopped reading my exercise book word by word, and I started creating short notes. Like I could just, from a whole sentence, I could just take 2 words that I can remember in exams. Then those 2 words I can later on form the whole sentence when I'm writing down on paper. Then I just realized being confident in myself. Like whenever I get to an exam room, I write everything that comes in my mind, and I realized that really worked for me so well. So when we got to, I think, Form 3, Form 4, that's when the performance started going high. And I remember this one time we were, you know, the way like in high school they usually give the results, so like they announce and the top 10 students have to go up there, so they call their names. And for us, most of the time it was just the usual people, like yes, number 3 nani, number 2 nani, number 1 nani, and life goes on. So there was this one time, the person whom I just used, like every time she was the one who is being called for the number 1 seat. Can I say the number 1 seat? That time they called her for the number 2 seat instead, and people were like, oh my god, so who is going to be called for the number 1 seat? Like, what happened? So everyone is starting to murmur, because even the person who was reading the list was like, what's happening? Because we're just used to the same norm. So when he called out the person who was for the number 1 seat, he called out my name, and everyone was shocked. People were shocked, like, what's happening? Like, how comes? How did she do that? Like, who is she? I can remember when I was going up to stand where the others were standing, I'm used to lecturers. There was a teacher was saying, like, who is she? They were shocked. So that's when I realized that method is working for me. That's when I just started doing my best in everything that I'm doing. That's when I realized that method is working for me. And so for most of the students who came to me and started asking me, like, what did you do? I've always been telling them the same things I've told you today. Understand yourself and realize what is working for you, and everything is just going to flow. So guys, enough of the stories, and that is just it for today. I hope this video helped you a lot. So make sure you give it a like, and you can comment down any question you have for me. I'll answer it ASAP. And make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet, and make sure you click on the notification bell so that whenever I post any other video, you don't miss it out. So thank you so much for watching this specific video, and see you on my next video. Bye bye.